These are 10 facts about Luke Littler that most darts fans still don't know, and once you hear them, you'll understand why this kid isn't just the best young player in the sport, but possibly the most extraordinary sporting story of this entire generation. Number 10. He started playing darts at 18 months old. Most darts professionals picked up a dart somewhere in their teenage years, and a few started at 10 or 11, but Luke Littler started at 18 months old. His father, Anthony Buckley, bought a magnetic dartboard from a pound shop, not a specialist sports retailer, not a professional training facility, a pound shop, and put it in front of his toddler son. Luke immediately took to it. By 4, he'd moved on to a standard board, and by 6, he'd scored his first 180. A 6-year-old, 3 darts, treble 20, treble 20, treble 20, 180. The stories from inside the family home are even more telling than the scores. Brother Leon recalled watching Luke as a child, saying he'd play darts whenever he could, sometimes stopping only for a meal before starting again, and that if their mum and dad tried to take the darts away from him, there'd be, and this is a direct quote, a real scene with him crying loudly. What none of that sounds like is a child being pushed by ambitious parents. Anthony Buckley had no agenda when he bought that board, and what happened next was entirely Luke Littler's doing. Number 9. He had eye surgery as a child that made his entire career possible. This one stayed hidden until December 2025, when Littler revealed it publicly for the first time, and the significance of it is hard to overstate. Around the age of 4 or 5, Luke was diagnosed with strabismus, the medical term for a squint or crossed eyes, where one eye sits misaligned from the other. Corrective surgery at Warrington Hospital fixed it, and Littler spoke about it to Sky Sports with typical directness. "I think it's called bog eye when you've got one normal eye. My mum and dad wanted that sorted. Now you look at it, it was a good thing to get done at the time." Darts is built entirely on visual precision, where players are throwing at a target less than 17mm wide from 2.37 meters under pressure on national television in front of thousands of people. Without that surgery, none of what followed happens. Not the 9 darters, not the 107 averages, not the world titles, none of it. Littler added, "I'm thankful my parents got it sorted. That single medical decision, made in Warrington sometime around 2011 or 2012, sits quietly as one of the most consequential moments in darts history, and almost nobody knew about it until he was already world number 1. Number 8. His walk-on song comes from a decision he made at age 10. Greenlight by Pitbull featuring Flo Rida and Lunch Money Lewis. If you've watched Littler walk onto a stage, you know it instantly. What almost nobody knows is that the choice traces back to April 2017, when a 10-year-old Luke Littler attended WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, Florida, with his dad. That song was the official theme of the event, and sitting in that arena, Luke made a decision that he kept for years. His own words, "Me and my dad went to WrestleMania 33 in Orlando. It was a good song. I was singing my head off as a 10-year-old. I thought that if I did make it, that would be my walk-on. Notice the language. Not if I ever tried darts professionally, not if I was lucky enough," he said, "when I make it." A decade before signing the biggest contract in darts history, a child in an American wrestling arena already knew where he was going, and he'd already picked his entrance music. When he walked out at Alexandra Palace for the first time as a 16-year-old with the world watching, there it was. Greenlight, exactly as decided. That is not a normal mind operating there, that is something else entirely. Number 7. He only practices for 30 to 45 minutes a day. Every elite athlete you've ever heard of comes attached to a story about obsessive practice. Hours in the gym, thousands of repetitions, relentless commitment to the craft. Wayne Gretzky skated before the rink opened. Tiger Woods hit balls in the dark. The mythology of sporting greatness runs almost entirely on sacrifice and suffering. Luke Littler does half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, and he said it publicly, repeatedly, without a hint of embarrassment. His daily routine during the 2024 World Championship, a tournament where he averaged over 105 against top 20 players, went like this, in his own words, "I just wake up, play on my Xbox, have some food, have a chuck on the board, and go to bed." Phil Taylor, the 16-time world champion who dedicated decades of obsessive discipline to his craft, heard about this and couldn't hide his bewilderment, revealing in an interview that he'd asked Littler whether he was bringing a practice board to London for the tournament, and Littler had simply said no. Gary Anderson framed it another way. If the building went on fire and everyone's running out screaming hysterically, he would just slant across, pick his coat up, and just saunter out the building. The talent is through the roof, Anderson said, and the effort required to access it appears to be almost nothing. What that combination, elite results, minimal visible work, does to every other professional on tour is an uncomfortable question that nobody wants to answer out loud. Number 6. He met his girlfriend playing FIFA. Before Luke Littler became the most talked about name in British sport, he was a teenager from Warrington, spending evenings on Xbox, playing EA Sports FIFA Pro Clubs Online. Through that game, via a mutual friend in an online lobby, he met Eloise Milburn, a beauty consultant approximately 5 years older than him. The relationship attracted considerable online attention, particularly around the age gap, and Littler responded by publicly calling for people to stop sending her abuse, defending her directly in a way that caught a lot of people off guard for a 16-year-old. That relationship eventually ended, and from early 2025, he's been with Faith Miller, a 19-year-old beautician from Wigan, who went public with him at the World Match Play in July 2025 and walked the Brit Awards red carpet with him in Manchester in March 2026. But the FIFA detail is the one that tells you who Luke Littler actually is when the cameras are off. No clubs, no yachts, no carefully managed public image, just a bedroom in Warrington, an Xbox and online lobbies. His romantic life literally began inside a video game. The extraordinary thing is that the darts part of his life running alongside all of that is now worth millions of pounds. Number 5. He failed all his GCSs except PE. In January 2024, with the world suddenly desperate to know everything about him, Luke Littler answered a question about his qualifications with the kind of honesty that was both completely disarming and genuinely hilarious. No GCSEs passed, none, except physical education. His exact words, "I don't have any GCSEs, ever." He'd left Padgate Academy in Warrington at 16 to focus on darts full-time, and while most of his classmates were revising for exams, he was already ranked inside the world's top 200 darts players. The school's head teacher later said his success inspired a hugely popular darts club at the school, which is a reasonable trade-off. And then, in late 2025, after becoming world number 1, after winning multiple major titles and accumulating millions in prize money, Luke Littler failed his driving theory test multiple times before eventually passing. A man capable of calculating the most efficient route to 0 from 501 under pressure on national television in front of sold-out arenas could not get through the theory test on his first attempt. Darts rewards an extremely specific kind of intelligence, and it turns out that hitting a target from 8 feet away is a fundamentally different skill set from answering multiple choice questions about road signs. That feels about right. Number 4. The Littler effect transformed youth darts overnight. When Littler walked into Alexandra Palace as a 16-year-old unseeded qualifier in December 2023, the Junior Darts Corporation carried approximately 1,600 members, young people around the country playing organised youth darts. By the end of 2024, that number had more than doubled to over 3,000. Youth darts academies across the UK grew from around 58 to 115 in the same period, and the reach spread internationally, with new academies appearing in Bulgaria and Mongolia. Target Darts had 900 sets of Littler-branded darts in stock on the morning his first World Championship match aired, every single one sold by lunchtime. His 2024 World Championship run drew a peak television audience of 3.7 million viewers on Sky Sports, the largest audience the channel had ever recorded for any non-football sport. What he did to darts viewership and youth participation mirrors, what Eric Cantona did to replica shirt sales, what Tiger Woods did to golf demographics, what Roger Federer did to tennis participation among young boys. A single extraordinary talent arriving at exactly the right moment and rewriting who a sport belongs to. Before December 2023, darts was not a sport young people were rushing to take up. After Luke Littler reached a World Championship final at 16, it was, and that shift might outlast every title he ever wins. Number 3. The Target Darts deal is the largest contract in darts history, and it started with a pound shop. Cast your mind back to the opening of this video. A pound shop, a magnetic dartboard, a toddler in Warrington. Now hold that image next to this one. In January 2026, Luke Littler signed a 10-year contract with Target Darts reportedly worth up to £20 million, the largest sponsorship deal in the history of the sport. Target had been with him since he was 12 years old. backing a primary school-age kid from Warrington before he was anybody, and 9 years later, that kid holds 2 World Championship trophies, a world #1 ranking, and the distinction of being the first player to collect a £1 million prize at a World Championship. The deal covers equipment and merchandise, and Target now manages him commercially. After signing, Littler personally bought every member of Target Darts staff a set of Apple AirPods. His wider commercial portfolio by early 2026 includes Xbox, Boohoo Man, McDonald's, KP Nuts, Tag Heuer, Deliveroo, and the Sidemen. Sports finance experts have projected he could earn £100 million over the next decade, though that figure is speculative. What is not speculative is this. The child who learned to play on a pound shop magnetic board signed the biggest commercial deal in darts history before turning 19. Every step of that journey traces directly back to one decision by his dad, and Anthony Buckley had absolutely no idea what he was buying. Number 2. His brother was once considered the better player and now won't play him. This is the fact that tends to stop people when they hear it. Luke Littler's older brother Leon also played darts growing up, and for a period inside the Littler household, Leon was considered the better player of the two. Older, more experienced, further along, by the internal reckoning of the family, Leon had the edge. Leon has since stepped away from competitive darts entirely, built a life with his partner and son George, and for a time worked as a bartender at the Mill House pub in Padgate, pulling pints in Warrington while his younger brother was winning world championships and signing for millions. And here's what makes it genuinely moving rather than just ironic. Leon refuses to play Luke now, won't do it. The reason is straightforward. There's no version of that match where Leon wins, and both of them know it. The kid who used to trail behind him, the one in the viral nappy footage hitting 20s on a magnetic board, that kid is now the best player alive by many measures. 2 brothers from the same house in Warrington. One of them just signed a £20 million darts deal. The other won't pick up a dart against him, and in that story you find something far more human than any trophy or world ranking. You find what genius actually looks like when it lives inside an ordinary family. Number 1. Before the tournament that changed everything, he had 4,000 Instagram followers. On the 15th of December 2023, Luke Littler was a 16-year-old from Warrington with approximately 4,000 Instagram followers, a career total of less than £3,500 in prize money, and a world ranking of 164th. Nobody in mainstream sport had heard of him. 18 days later, 1.3 million people were following him, and he was the most talked about athlete in the United Kingdom. Walking into Alexandra Palace as a 66-1 outsider, he averaged 106.12 in his opening match, the highest debut average in World Championship history. Then beat Andrew Gilding, Matt Campbell, Raymond van Barneveld with a 105 average, Brendan Dolan and Rob Cross in the semi-final with another 106, and reached the final against number 1 seed Luke Humphries, a 16-year-old, the World Championship final. He lost, leading 4-2 before Humphries took 5 consecutive sets. He left with £200,000 and the sport permanently altered. Afterwards, he admitted, "Every night I was awake until 5 every morning on my phone, refreshing Instagram, seeing my followers go up." 12 months later, he came back and won it, 7-3 against Michael van Gerwen, becoming the youngest world darts champion in history at 17 years and 347 days. His words at the moment of victory: "I can't believe it. Everyone dreams of lifting this trophy. I can't believe it." 12 months after that, he retained it. 7 wins, 4 sets dropped across the entire tournament, a 43-minute final won 7-1 against Gian Van Veen, a 170 checkout, and the first £1 million prize in the event's history, collected by a 19-year-old from Warrington, world number 1, 11 PDC major titles, joint third all-time, 19 years old. Phil Taylor won 16 world championships across a career that ran from the age of 29 to 57. Luke Littler started at 17. The maths does something uncomfortable when you run it forward. 10 things, a pound shop dartboard and a toddler who wouldn't put it down, a squint corrected by surgery in a Warrington hospital, a walk-on song chosen at WrestleMania when he was 10, 30 minutes of practice a day, maximum, a girlfriend met through FIFA pro clubs, no GCSEs except PE, and a driving theory test failed more than once, a sport that doubled its youth membership in a single year. A brother who grew up as the better player and now refuses to pick up a dart against him. A £20 million deal that started with a pound shop purchase. And 4,000 Instagram followers gone in 18 days. None of that is mythology. None of it has been shaped for television. That is the actual story of Luke Littler. He put it himself after collecting his second world championship. I can't stop here. I'm still on this roller coaster. The roller coaster started in 2008 with a magnetic board from a pound shop. And 18 years later, it shows no sign of slowing down. Keep watching.